All right, we're live on YouTube. You can see everybody. We will switch to speaker view in just a second. But thank you, all my YouTubers, for jumping on here. Some of you actually get on here right when we start every Sunday night. And I appreciate that. And some of you watch it on Monday morning. I've heard people go, yeah, every Monday morning, I just pull it up while I put my makeup on and watch it. So, hey, we appreciate you. And some of you are in our units and some of you are just friends of ours. And so you got a special treat tonight because we had 150 something people register, and most of them came to our Linda Toupin event this weekend in Valdosta, Georgia. One of them was one of our Boss Babe directors. We had a bunch of them, but Latrice Mahalik from Mississippi, and she's still over here. Several of them went on home today, but we've had a blast. It's just fun to be together again, right, y'all? And so Linda Toupin, she talked for us. She talked for us actually on Friday night for 3 hours solid. Like we introduced her, that took like 2 minutes, and then she talked solid for 3 hours. And y'all, it seemed like 15 minutes. I'm not kidding you. It seemed like 15 minutes. It was so good. And we're just writing our little hands off. And then everybody came to my house. All the directors came to my house and DIQs, including Maureen, which is all the way from Michigan. She flew down. She's in the airport right now in Atlanta trying to get back home. But, and we fed them all and we had a blast. And so the next morning we got up and she taught the directors again for 3 hours. And then we ate, and then the room was packed full. And she taught for 3 more hours and taught all the consultants and the directors again. And then the local gals and a few out-of-town people, we just got back from another event. She did a guest event today called Choices, and we had about 60 at that. So very well attended. I don't know. We were talking about what would I do different, and it's just minimal things. Like I might have had louder music today, but other than that, it was awesome. So we wanted to share just a little bit about her. And so let me just say this about her. One thing about Linda is, let me see if you could, we need to find that one little piece of paper. Well, honestly, I read it so many times, I should know it. No, it's right here. Oh. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Linda, not this whole thing, but just a couple facts about her. She is a National Sales Director Emeritus, and Linda started her career in April of 1982, became a director the very next year. She's 30 years in a pink Cadillac unit, 30 whole years. 21 years, her unit did $1 million in production. That's a lot. She has 450 unit members. And when she retired last year, it hadn't only just been a year, she had been at an Inner Circle National. She gave her this unit of 450 people. This isn't all her directors, this is just her unit that she kept to her daughter. So her daughter is now, close to $1 million director. And so I'm like, I want to come back and be Linda Toupin's daughter. But she also taught us how she did it, and it's very, very simple. So this is just so you have a little bit about her. And I'll show you a picture of Linda. That's a picture of Linda. And she's just beautiful inside and out. We all have heard of Linda, we've seen her, but we really got to know Linda, and she just wonderful.
Just down to earth.
She was amazing. So you know what? I'm going to let Latrice start first because she's sitting right here beside me. And so Latrice, we'll just go like just a couple of minutes or just a couple of tips and things that we learned from her.
Well, one of the things that I learned about Linda was she not only talked it, but she did. She is so strategic, and she didn't do anything new. It was like she followed what Mary Kay Ash taught us to do. And y'all, one of the things was the weekly plan sheet. And then she broke it down into what she called Toupin truths and slaying the pink elephants. And so I don't know about y'all, but sometimes, you think, I don't have time. Well, let me just tell you, she cleared that up really fast because you do have time. So we all have 168 hours in the week. So if you can, write this down. You sleep 56 hours. Your other job is 40 hours. And in Mary Kay, you can have 15 hours, whether it be virtual or in person or both. And guess what? You have 57 hours left. So what do you do with that 57 hours left? You could do, family time, whatever you want to do. But ladies, here's the deal. We got to give up the excuses because there's not any. I mean, she just proved it right here. 168 hours a week. And I guarantee you, if you pick up your cell phone and scroll how many hours you've been on it, that did not make you money today. So she said, if it does not bring you joy and it does not bring you money, why are you doing it? Get you some help to do the things that you don't need to be doing, when we all know that when you sell Mary Kay, you can make $50 an hour. So y'all, make it happen this week. You can. So that was my takeaway.
Absolutely.
Yay. Quit making excuses.
Okay, so this is what's so funny. I thought, what am I going to share? I thought, that's what I'm going to share, the whole hour thing. So anyway, she took my speech. So I'll go. I got something else, so I'm going to do. So I'm going to kind of go in the order I see y'all on my screen. So Sayla, if you will go next. That'd be awesome.
Hey, everybody. There were so many awesome things about this weekend. Number one, to be together with some sisters. That was really, really good. People from all over the country. It just was powerful. We know it, and I don't know that we have forgotten it, but just the power of being together was so awesome, awesome. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to share, so I'm just going to share one or two things. Really what hit me like right between the eyes, because I am the person that says all the time, oh, I'm going to come go to Mary Kay with me. We're going to have so much fun. Fun. Let's just go have Mary Kay fun. But what Linda talked to us about is how we talk to our families about our business. And if you're always running out the door saying, I'm going to have fun, and you're not bringing home any money, and your husband, your kids are like, oh my gosh, there she goes again to another Mary Kay thing to have fun. That is not cutting it, as we all know. She talked about how your family will roll their eyes. They make that funny noise in the back of their throat, like, golly. And so one of the things that she suggested was to treat your Mary Kay business like a traditional job, and that you would have a weekly plan sheet, like Latrice said, and you would actually color code it on the hours that you're going to do your Mary Kay, and put it on your refrigerator. Put everything down on and color code it on that weekly plan sheet. And then what you say to your family is, I'm going to it's so funny what she told us this, y'all. I did this to my family. My kids are grown, but they call me all the time. So this weekend they called me while we were at the country club, and I said, hey, I'm at a work function. Instead of saying I'm at a Mary Kay event, I said, hey, listen, I'm sorry I can't talk to you. I'm at a work function. And they're like, oh, okay, Mom. And so she said, we are entrepreneurs, but we need to treat our business in a more traditional fashion, because most people work for other people, and they understand I'm working today 2 to 5, not I'm going to do some Mary Kay from 2 to 5. You say, no, I'm working from 2 to 5. Or like with my kids this weekend, I said, I'm sorry, I'll have to call you back. I'm at a work function. So anyway, that's my little tip. And it was just off the chain awesome.
All right. I think that is great. That's one of the things that impacted me as well. Mm-hmm. That whole thing about your verbiage and about what you say. And one of the things she added to that was like your weekly plan sheet, which you could print off for Mary Kay. Instead of calling it your weekly plan sheet, you call it your time schedule. And she said you put that on your calendar. She asked us, the directors, to do a time study and put, your work time and like your time you're actually making money, like a facial or a class. And then like maybe a pink time, which you're in your office doing some Mary Kay or maybe at a Mary Kay meeting. And then family time was a different color, and then church was a different color, and, and then your regular job was a different color. And you put that on your calendar, and that you have your whole family sees it, and they go, what does it say? Oh, that's my time schedule for this next week of what you're doing, or my work schedule. I'm like, That's so good because people don't respect your business because they just think you're going to party, right?
Right.
Yeah, especially if you come home with no money. They really think you're just going to party. So anyway, great, Sayla. Awesome. Okay. Stephanie, I'm going to unmute you. She's driving, I believe. There you go. All right, Stephanie.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
So what do you want me to share? I'm sorry.
Oh, you just jump on here. Yeah, we're just sharing just a couple of minutes of what you got out of the Linda Toupin weekend. Anything you want to share?
Well, ditto to what you and Sayla just said. It is our verbiage, and got to put that into action myself about 2 hours ago. And it felt good to like stick up for ourselves and yes, we have fun, but we are working and we don't need to be afraid of work being a 4-letter word. It's a good one. But the whole event was just so good. You did a great job. So, and Brittany getting that put together and having everybody over, it was just, I think, what everybody needed to have on so many levels. So thank you.
Stephanie, go ahead and share what you shared with me a few minutes ago about how you just used that verbiage with one of your relatives.
Okay, yeah. So it was my nephew, and he said, "Oh, why are you driving?" And I said, "Well, I was in Georgia." And he's like, "Oh, so you were at a Mary Kay thing?" And I'm like, well, I was at a Mary Kay leadership business meeting. Yes. And I had great girl time. And then I sent him a picture of Linda Toupin, and I shared that, this lady was our trainer. She has earned over 11 million in commissions alone and 3 million during her retirement. And his response about a half hour later, because I think it was a shock that I was brave and bold and, what I do is legit, people, come on. And he was like, wow, that's impressive. I'm like, oh, yes, it is.
Awesome. Perfect. It's, you know what they say, if you put into action what you learn, that you need to put some things that you learn into action within 48 to 96 hours, or you will really have forgot everything that you were taught. And,
right.
And that's true. Yeah, so you guys, both of you that just went home and did it right then, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. And in addition to kind of forgetting it, also then it makes the event more of just the party and the girl time instead of being work. So thanks again, girls.
You're welcome. We sure love having you down here all the way in little old South Georgia.
It was a blast. Connection. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to Loree next.
Hey, everybody. I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts. One that she really touched on several times throughout the event was that if you want to change your life, you've got to think different thoughts. So just like what Sayla was talking about having, an entrepreneurial mindset, but you've got to switch it into a traditional work mode. That's just one example of changing your mindset, but it really applies to a lot of different things. And just from a booking standpoint, one of the things that she said is that a car comes from 32 parties, and that, we really look at, we think about recruiting and moving up to a red jacket and, moving up to team leader and all those steps. But she said it should really come organically from your parties. And so if you interview 2 people from each party that you have, then and 1 in 4 will recruit, that at every 2 parties you should have a team member. So you're 32 parties away from having, earning a car if you do it the Mary Kay way, using the 4-point recruiting plan, etc. And so she said, always say when you're taking an order, and this could be a way that as you're doing reorders this week that you could get bookings, is how would you like to pay for that today? Cash, check, card, Venmo, or would you like to get that at a discount or possibly free? And so that's your lead in to get some bookings. And that's where it all starts. We all, I think, have a little bit of time in that weekly plan sheet that she talked about to, squeeze in a booking or 2 to have those 2 to 4 parties a week. And that's where it starts. And we do have to change our mindset and think differently about there is an abundance of time. Instead of thinking we don't have enough time, there is an abundance. And sorry for the dog that keeps dropping a ball at my feet so that I can.
I'm
That's
sitting here
noise.
looking to see who is making the noise. I'm like, I'm going up and down. Everybody's
That
muted.
is my dog.
I
For, yeah,
Yes.
he really wants to play. So that's what I wanted to share for tonight. And I could share it on and on and on, but I know a lot of other people have some nuggets to share too.
I love that part. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, so next, hang on, let me just see where we are here. Maureen, we'll let you go next.
Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. All right. First, it was the most amazing weekend ever. And thank you so much, Cleta and Brittany. It was absolutely amazing. It was brilliant. The thing that I usually take away from a workshop is a list of things, which we have plenty of things that Linda gave us to do. And it usually stresses me out. But when she started talking about, I think it was Maslow's triangle. Is that the name of that thing? Mm-hmm. Maslow's triangle. I really focused in on that. And I just, with everything, the way she presented everything to us, I walked out of there not stressed out at all, even with a plan that she was suggesting to us. But that triangle, Maslow's triangle thing, really, I was really paying attention and writing a lot of notes on it. And it really kind of answered some questions for myself. And so I really loved that part. But just how she presented everything to us did not stress me out when it normally does, because I feel like I have to do everything when I get home and cross everything off the list. But I felt very at ease and very like it all went in, and I have everything in my notes. And it was just a very relaxed, impactful, inspiring, training full weekend that I just enjoyed immensely. So thank you so much.
All right. Well, I'm glad she said that, because that's actually what I was going to talk about in a minute. And I'm going to just show you this chart right here. Okay, so this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so the bottom right here says physical needs: air, sleep, water, and food. And so how she used that is, if you are trying to talk to someone about Mary Kay, let's say you're recruiting, and these needs aren't met. Let's say, you know, they don't have anything to eat, you know, they are, you know, they don't have just the basics of life, air, sleep, they're not getting any sleep, you know, they can't breathe. They don't have like your basics. Okay. It's kind of like if you're somewhere and you're really hungry and all of a sudden you can't even pay attention anymore. You're like, I just need a cookie. I need a hamburger. I got to get out of here. And, you know, people call it hangry, right? It's not a good time to try to recruit somebody if they're hangry.
No.
And so she said sometimes people, you know, they need to get that taken care of first, right? Before they can even move. So then the next one is safety right here, is safety and security. Safety and security. So she said that last year, you know, with COVID, everybody, that really, it was tough on people because they did not feel safe. They did not feel secure. You know, they were worried about, you know, catching COVID, and then, you know, just, it was constantly, and not even like you just listen to it, but like if you watch the news, you're constantly reminded, and you know, it's like, be scared, be scared, be scared, be scared. And like that, so a lot of people, you know, that's just where they stopped right there because they could not get that taken care of. Then the next one, in that, she's also talked about debt. If you're really highly in debt, then you can't get to the next ones hardly, because you got to get that taken care of, and not even pay it all off, but just have a plan. Just have a plan of how you're going to get out of debt. What are you going to do? You know? And so then the third one on the is love and acceptance. Love and acceptance. And then the fourth one is esteem. So this, she said, Mary Kay owns this one. This is the only company, like, we own that. We were talking about how in Mary Kay, we all get along with each other. We love each other. We don't, I mean, it's not like the outside world who people can't get along, all the crazies out there. We just at a Mary Kay event, everybody shows love and acceptance. And that is just the way our culture is in the company. And then esteem would be the recognition that we get in Mary Kay, how we build people up, how we call them to the front, how we clap for them for just being there, you know? And she said, we're the only company that those two things are always met. They're always met, right? And then once you get through that, then you can get this big deal. It's called self-actualization. And she said, there was a study that less than 3% of people in the whole world ever get to that point, ever. And in Mary Kay, we can get to a lot. And she said, the thing is, we start over every single morning. Every single morning, we start back over. You wake up. What's the first thing you do? You're hungry. You're thirsty. Have you had enough sleep? And so during the day, you got to move up. So we were just talking about that with a lot of people that we're trying to recruit sometime. And we're like, we got to get some of the basic needs met first. So maybe it'd be better for them. It might be that they just might need, be a hostess or something first and get some free product and, build some different things together. So I don't know. That hit me too, Maureen. And it just really made me think about a lot of different things. So let me read this thing, then I'll go to the next one. It says, Maslow's hierarchy of human needs is, according to psychologist Abraham Maslow, a person's level of motivation is related to the level at which needs are met. And it said self-actualization is the need for personal growth and the need to realize potential. Then one below it, esteem, the need to be considered as adequate, worthy, and deserving of respect. Love and belonging, the need for acceptance, warmth, affection, and approval from others. Safety and security, the need for protection from harm or injury or for security from threats. Money and debt are in this one. And then physical, the needs of the body, such as food, sleep, shelter, and activity. And so you may be at a point in your Mary Kay career and you're not going anywhere, but it could be that you're down here. You got to get some other things kind of fixed. And so I just thought this was really good, and it's for everybody every single day. So that is just something to think about when you're talking to people and you're like, she really ought to do this, but it may be that you've got to help her with some other things first, or help her get a plan for some other things. So I thought that was really, really good. Okay, moving on. Let me go down here to, let me see if there's any more directors first. Oh, Connie Bush, do you want to, I'm going to try to see if you can unmute. I don't know. I accidentally muted you. So you may be, she called in. She's driving. Yeah, Connie, you could probably hang up and call back and I could get you. Otherwise, I don't know how to unmute you otherwise because it won't let me. It just says ask to unmute. Okay, so if you can figure it out, just call back in and oh, there she is. Perfect. Hey, girl.
I think I got it.
You did it. Okay. This is Connie Bush. Drove all the way down from South Carolina.
Hi, everyone. So sorry I'm in the car and I just stopped to get gas. So it may be a little noisy here where I am. But I have seen Linda do this in the past, but I thought it was really, really cool that she was, when she did her Thanksgiving Day analogy. And that was, so one of the things she said is that you have to know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. So you need to know what it costs, what your numbers are, what your average.
I'm not sure what's going on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So you need to know what your average reorder ticket is when people are ordering from you, your reorders, and what your average dollar amount that you make per face is, and what your average party amount is that you make. And the reason you need to know those numbers are, let's just say it's Thanksgiving Day, she said, and you're over there getting ready to get the turkey out of the oven, and you find somebody goes to the mailbox because they didn't pick up the mail the day before, and they find a $400 bill. And they come walking in, and this is an unexpected expense. And they say, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We've got this $400 expense. And she said, you just calmly wash, dry off your hands, and you walk over to that time card that you have now put on your refrigerator that Latrice was talking about. And you say, well, Susie, I can't take you to ballet this week because I'm going to need that time. You're going to have Grandma take you to ballet. I'm going to need that time so that I can make some booking calls. I've got to get some booking calls, and I'm going to make some calls to my customers for reorders. And usually in 2 hours, I can accomplish
getting about $200 in sales, so that'll work. And then over here on Thursday, well, I'm going to have to not go to T-ball with you, Johnny, this week. Your daddy's going to have to take you for that, because I'm going to make sure I have 2 parties scheduled, because I want to make sure I schedule 2 parties, because, every once in a while a party will cancel, so we need to make sure one holds. And my average party amount is about, $250 to $300 per party. So by the time I do those things within the week, I should be able to pay that bill. So you just calmly then walk away and go back to washing your dishes. And everybody who's always rolled their eyes at you because you were doing another Mary Kay function just kind of look at you like, I guess this is a real job. So I love that presentation. But it is true. If you know what your numbers are, then when you have an unexpected expense, then you know exactly what you can do and how quickly you can come up with the money to pay that expense.
Perfect. I love that. I love that analogy too. And she did it twice, once for us and for the consultants. And that was one of my favorite ones too, Connie. All right. Thank you for sharing. Okay. We're going to go to some of our team members, our unit members that were there. And so I'm going to go over to, hang on, let me see who is going to be first. Miss Valerie Ray, would you like to share? Valerie? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can. Yes, go ahead.
Let me turn this down. Okay, what I learned was, what amazed me was talking about traditional jobs composed to the entrepreneur, of how we had to start treating it as a traditional job.
You want to elaborate, or that all
you want to
elaborate?
That'll be all.
That'll be all.
Went blank.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, let me just elaborate for her. One of the things she did, she asked everybody in the audience to raise your hand if one of your parents, one or both, had traditional jobs where they worked for someone else other than themselves. And so 90% of the room held their hand up. And then she asked, how many of you have a parent, one or more, that is entrepreneurial? They work for themselves. And then we raised our hand. There was a fewer amount of there. And she said the biggest thing is that an entrepreneur, one that has a traditional job, they work by the clock. They're very time conscious. This is when I have to go to work. This is when I get a break and how long. This is how long lunch is. This is my afternoon break. I get off at this time. This is how much overtime is. This is how many weeks I get for vacation. And when there's a certain time to quit, you quit. She said, on the other hand, entrepreneurs, they are like this. You work till it's done. And she talked about how she milks the cows. And she was raised on a dairy farm, and they have to be milked twice a day, 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock at night. And just like a mother who's breastfeeding, when you stop breastfeeding, your milk dries up. I probably would not know that, but I know she probably would. Anyway, so she said she was raised where they got up, and no matter what, they milked those cows at 6 o'clock. You had the flu, you got up, you put your work clothes on, you go outside, you milk the cows, and then you may have to come home and get in the bed. If Granny died, she said you'd have the funeral in the middle of the day because you had to get up, milk the cows, and you go back in, take off your work clothes, put on your church clothes, you go to the funeral. And then after the funeral, you come home, put back your work clothes on. She said never in 18 years of her life, she went to college in 18, she was 18. And she said never one time in her whole life has she saw someone not go to work. Like, you went to work every day. You didn't have any reason why you couldn't go to work. And so she said, I never knew what it meant when these roommates of mine were having come aparts. She goes, I didn't even know what a come apart was when some boy said something to them. Like, they couldn't function, they couldn't go to class. And she's like, I don't even get this, And so that was really good, I thought, and how we think. But then she went right on into what y'all just talked about because so many people do think more like a traditional job. That's why you have to use that language of mommy's going to work. Mommy's got to work weekend. Oh, I wish I could, but mommy's got to work. I have a work event I have to go to. And instead of, I got to get Mary Kay. That's like, it's like you're saying I'm going to the beach. And every time you go to the beach, you spend money and you have fun and nobody else does, and they don't like it. But if you said, I got to go to work, they're like, oh, okay. Mommy's got to go to work, just like Daddy went to work. So
That's true.
I love it. Okay, let's see who else is on here. Misha, you want to go next?
Hey, I figured you were, so I was trying to get somewhere with a little bit less noisy. So
it's all
and
good.
I got my notebook in hand. Like I literally had picked it up like right before you called on me, so I knew it was coming.
Well, we love you here. And Misha was also there today. So
oh goodness. So let's see. What stood out to me today was some of the stuff that she actually said to the husbands. And because I after she said it, I was immediately thinking about some of my friends over there, and I'm like, oh, I see some husbands putting some ladies to work when they get home. But but what she said about giving the husbands the Applause magazine and having them go through it and knowing exactly what the requirements were, and knowing where their wife was and what her next step was, and making sure they knew what was required as well, so they could kind of encourage and help, especially if the wife is not particularly detailed oriented and just wants to focus on the people. She'll have somebody to help keep her in line. So I know that's something I'm going to pass on to my married recruit. Which her husband kind of does that anyway, but I doubt he's looked at the Applause magazine because she's the detailed one, to be honest. But anyway.
Yes. And gosh, something just went in and out of my mind. Would you like to comment on that? Misha, I'm so glad you went to both of them. Oh, I know what it was. One of the things that she said was not only the Applause magazine, but it's the advanced brochure.
Yeah.
The advanced brochure is something you can
print that's what I meant.
Yeah, on InTouch. If you go and just search for the word advance, you can see it online, and it is a brochure you can print out, and it shows you the next step. Like if you're a team leader, it shows you how many recruits you got to do to be an elite team leader, and all that. And so I thought that was really good too. And because some people aren't detailed. And one of the things she said is if you're not detailed, that's not your strength. Then you need to surround yourself with detailed people that you can have work for you. And you can pay a minimum wage to do something that would take you 4 hours that they could do in 30 minutes because they're good on the computer or whatever, And she said that she hired someone in her third month of her business to help her with her business. And so she talked about different people she hired. She hired a couple little girls to come over and put labels on a product. She just different things. She had to pay them a lot, but her senior director said, you know what? You're an unskilled Mary Kay consultant. An unskilled Mary Kay consultant can still make about $50 an hour. They get on the phone and make so many calls, they can sell $100 in an hour. And so every hour that you're not, that you're doing something that someone else could do, you're costing your family $50. So she said that was the most impactful thing that anybody had ever said to her at the very beginning of her career. So she thought, if it don't bring me joy and I'm not making money, I'm not going to do it. And she doesn't. Mm-mm. So I thought of a lot of things people need to work to me for. Right?
Right.
That's right. Okay, let me see if there are any other our Mary Kay girls that came. All right, I don't see any more on there. I wanted to go ahead.
Cleta, while you're looking, and then the thing I personally like, one of my favorite things that I liked was all her creative ways of finding funds for inventory. Or even the starter kit, like what she did today when she was saying, oh, well, I'm pretty sure you can sell some of those clothes you can't wear anymore on Facebook Marketplace or Poshmark or whatever, and come up with $130. Like that was really creative for sure.
She did. And she did 2 different scenarios. One yesterday was for consultants of 8 ways to find inventory. And then today she did for the consultant. And I thought, oh, she's only going to do 3. And yes, she said the 3 ways were what she just said. One, she says, everybody's got something you can sell. You can sell on Marketplace, And then she said, y'all are in the South, which we are. She goes, and everybody knows if you put it on the side of the road and put a for sale sign, you can sell it. She said, so find something in your house, go put it out there and put a for sale sign up. She said, or put it on Facebook Marketplace. She goes, and you can make $130 within a minute, you know. And what was that third way? Oh, she said third way is get 5 people to give you $25. And she said, then she goes, they're not even gonna remember that you, they're not even gonna remember that they loaned you $25. So really, you probably don't even have to pay them back. So I thought that was pretty good too.
Hey, Cleta, one other
Yeah.
thing that was very interesting about that was she said, and you know, if she was talking about the $30 one, she's like, but you know, if you can't have $30, the point she was making that if you could not solve that problem of getting money, finding $30 to get started, and then, you know, doing that, then she's like, maybe this just isn't the time, because one of the things that that we're really looking for is people that are problem solvers. And it kind of released you from feeling like you've got to help all these people that can't find $30 to start a business that could change their life.
That's right. And she said to them today, she said, you know, you might just want to do something with our hostess program so that you could get some free products with Mary Kay and get on the products and do that first. And then you're able to get up to $30 that you could get in. So thank you, Lorraine, that yes, she did say that. That was really, really good. I want to mention something that she talked about, and she talked about charm and charisma is not transferable. Some people, either you have it or you don't. But she said, the reason why people buy from you and the reason why people recruit from you is because they know that you're a caring, nice person, that you care about them. And she said, there are ways to make people know that you're a caring, nice person. And, you know, and so she said, you know, why do people want to be around you? So first of all, you show people that you care. And how do you do that? Number one is you use their name. And she was very good at that. Mm-hmm. Today at the guest event, like she went around and somebody would say, she goes, well, what is your name? And she'd say, Destiny. She goes, Destiny, I love that name. Okay, Destiny, Destiny, Destiny. She said it 2, 3, 4 times to where all of us in the room knew who Destiny was. Later, Destiny won $100 and then her recruiter won $100. So that's pretty awesome. But she said, use people's names, ask questions, and then listen to what their answers are. Actually, and so let me tell you what Linda Toupin did. We went to lunch. Did she not do this? The very first day we were here, I said, I was supposed to meet her to help her set up. And I said, well, Linda, we're going over here to eat some lunch if you want to join us. And she goes, and I figured she'd probably say no. She goes, okay. So she met us. There was like 8 of us directors. And so we ate lunch. And so we were eating. And she goes, okay. She goes, well, I would love to know. She said, tell me about you and how'd you, are you married? How'd you meet your husband? So she ran around the whole table and asked each of us how we met our husband. And, it was just kind of cool that she even cared enough to ask. We all, when we got through lunch, we're like, we love her. Why do we love her? She used our names. She connected with us in some way, because one of the girls she rode horses and then Latrice's daughter rode horses. And anyway, she just went through each and every one of us and listened. And then last night we were, she came over for a little while, and the ones that weren't there, she goes, well, how'd you meet your husband? And then she looked at Brad and she said, when you met Cleta, what was the first thing you thought? And I thought, and I was cutting pie, and I came back in with my knife, and I go, and I was waiting to see what he said. And she goes, well, I thought, this is very, what do you say, refreshing? Yes. And I thought, well, that's good. I like to be refreshing. But anyway, it was just, but she really did do these things. And I mean, that's why, and she knew all of our names. Like, it was something else. The other thing she said is compliment people. Find something to compliment them on. Mary Kay said this too, but when you see a woman, sometimes you see something in somebody, but you just don't say it. Like, you really like her top or her earrings or her hair or her lipstick or her attitude, but we don't say it. She goes, compliment people. She said, it really draws people to you. And then she said, learn the names of like your customers, their children. She goes, if you want to get somebody, she said, all you got to do is say, she goes, highlight them on your Facebook page and say, when we highlight you, we want, 10 pictures of your kids and your family, and we're going to put you in 1 or 2 pages of the newsletter. And she said, you don't think people read that newsletter? And they can't wait to see that. And that's the best newsletter they have ever seen. She said, because people love to talk about their kids. And then the last one was, she said, be interesting to the whatever that says right there. To people. Be interesting to people. Have something to say as well. And she's very interesting. This guy stood up today, Brianna's, which was Valerie's daughter's boyfriend. And I could tell he's kind of shy. And he said, he was real young. And she said, and what is your name? This was in front of everybody. And he has said what it is. And Colson, I think was his name. And she goes, oh, I like that name. And she said, and what do you do? And he said, I farm. She goes, oh, really? What do you farm? This is in front of everybody, the whole group today. He goes, hey. She goes, oh, really? Alfalfa? And he goes, yeah. He goes, really? How many acres you got? And I just thought this was amazing. Like me, I'd go, oh, that's awesome. Next. She goes, how many acres you got? And he goes, 1,200. She goes, oh, is that all you farm? Just hay? Yes, ma'am. I said, anyway, but she took the time to talk to that young man who is probably 20 years old and try to make him feel important in that group of 60 people. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's why Linda Toupin made $11 million. Yeah, you know, I mean, because she makes people know that she's a good person, she's a nice person they want to be around. He just, oh, it's Cameron. Sorry about that. His name is Cameron, not Colton. That's Larie's son-in-law. Anyway, I like that. Did you see something else in there that you wanted to share?
Just that she thinks like a man. She's logical and she doesn't get emotional when she's making business decisions and working her business. And y'all, she was just so real, like just down to earth country girl. And she just treated this business as a business. And this is what it brought her to. And what I love is that she is an emeritus, but she loves Mary Kay still, and she's not going away. She wants to come into anyone's town and do an event for them. And that is giving of her time and herself. But she stayed on time, loved that about her, and she was very strategic planning everything. So, yep, I loved it.
And one of the things that she made us all do, which we talked about this last week, because Laurie saw the sign on our guest, Jennifer Bouse, and she had to stand up. Thank you, Laurie. Let me spotlight Laurie on here a minute. Laurie, put that up. Okay, we're all going to say this together. Are y'all ready? I am where I am by the choices I have made or have allowed others to make for me. And I realize all y'all are muted, but still. And so when you think about that, she said, if you hate your job, she said, why? Don't blame your boss. You chose to work there. She goes, you're mad. She goes, you're unhappy in your marriage. She goes, why? You chose to marry him. She goes, and everything she goes, everything you do is the choices that you made. And that's where you're at. So you have to think about some things and don't blame people and tell people, oh, if my mama would just support me, my husband would just support me. She goes, she said, you're going to have to figure this thing out and quit blaming people. And so I really like that too, because it is the truth. Because you think anything it is, if you're in debt, it's because you used your credit card and you charged it to the max. Nobody took that card out of your hand and go, ka-ching, and I'm guilty of that as well. But, whatever it is you did it. You made that choice. And there's rare times that someone's got a gun to your head making you do something like that. That's rare. Normally we made the choice or we allowed it to happen. Right. So I thought that was really, really good too. Okay. I think that's it. Any of the sales directors have anything else that they just something that they did not, because we're just running out of time, that they wanted to mention before we wrap it up? Okay. If not, she gave us so much, y'all. And she has a little Facebook page. Is that for consultants too, her Facebook page? I think it is.
Yeah, I think so.
You can look her up on Facebook. Linda Toupin Tips, I think is what it says. And right now she's talking all about hostesses. So it was just really, really good. I mean, she gave the directors this whole strategy workbook. And this is something we found out that she usually has people, like before she was retired, she had people fly into Kentucky and they would have a weekend training. And then every month for 4 months in a row, the directors would fly back in for training and they had to turn in their homework or they could not attend. Hello. And so, you had to be accountable. And so I thought that was pretty good too. So
send in your weekly accomplishment sheets.
Yeah, exactly. You can get online and do that, right?
Where's your money?
That's right.
Where is your money?
She wants you to keep up with your own stuff, you guys.
Yes.
What are you doing? How much money you're making? How, what are your percentages? And treat it like a business. And the last thing I'll say is she said, how many people have heard of Dollar General? And of course, we're all like, she goes, they're the Dollar Tree. She said, they're like one of the smartest business people. She goes, in every town I've ever gone to, podunk towns with no stoplight, they got a Dollar General. And she said, because for every bank or branch in the town, you can have that many Dollar Generals. And she said, and it's true, there's one on every corner. I'm within either way, a couple miles from a Dollar General, no matter if I'm going north or south or east or west, just about. And so she said, Mary Kay, for every branch or bank in town, there's enough room in that town for a Mary Kay sales director as well.
Yep.
So, we're not saturated. We just got to get out there and meet the people. And one of the things that she talked about is that she says, if I had to do that, I'd be out of Mary Kay. She can't stand it. So she got really good at getting names. Oh, and this was one thing she said for all of us is that every woman knows 150 people, just like they were planning a wedding. You ask your new team members to write down a list, or yourself, if you were having a wedding next week for your son, your daughter, or yourself, what would be the 150 families you would invite? If you had, that's the average in America of how many people go to a wedding or invited. And then she said, and that's the list you're going to work from. And so she said, at a party, if you have 4 people around the table, you really don't have 4 women. You have 600 prospects, because each one of those women know 150 people. So she used the term a lot. She said, so you get, and I say, Latrice, where do you live, Latrice?
Glen Allen.
Glen Allen? I don't have anybody in Glen Allen. You can be my person in Glen Allen so that you can start it there and we can build there. Oh, I'd love to do that. You think you could get together like your mom and your aunt, your sister, maybe cousin or a couple of neighbors, and let's get together and do a party in Glen Allen?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. And so then she say, I will go to Glen Allen. I meet her mama, her sister, her aunt. I get them all on skincare. And she says, and then I will talk to her and say, you know what? I tell you what, let's start your business. And because these girls could be your customers. She goes, so now she's been to 2 parties. She's got 5 or 6 customers. They're her mom, her sister, her aunt. They love Mary Kay. She's not going to quit, And she said, and they all know 150 people and we can get them going there. And so she goes, that's how I built my business. And I do it over and over again. She'd get that second appointment. And then she would go for the hostess to recruit them. Or it may not be the hostess. It may be her aunt or something. But she said, if you go and go straight and never meet their mama, their sister, their aunt, their cousin, their friend, and they quit Mary Kay, you got nothing. Because you never met anybody in her circle at all. Where before, if you've got that, you've got customers. They're more likely going to stay in, or you could find somebody from that. So I thought that was really a good analogy too. So anyway, okay. Well, you guys, that's what we got for you tonight. Or any of the directors that did not get to go, if you'd like to make some comments on what we said, we'd love to hear from you. And then we will wrap it up. Just unmute yourself.
It's Jana. Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Go ahead, Jana.
You ladies are all so awesome. Thank you so much for being committed to your business and attending and sharing everything with us. All of the tips are amazing. And I've been to one of Linda Toupin's director boot camps before. I think actually a couple of them. And so it just really brought back those memories of where I learned, because I've been using so many of her things for so many years. She is so strategic. So thank you all so much for sharing. God bless y'all.
Thank you, girl. Thank you. Okay, anybody else or any of the other consultants or directors want to make a comment before we wrap it up? It went by so fast.
I know.
What in the world? It's so much more. I feel like, where's Sayla? She's usually the one sitting right here.
I know, right? Come on, Sayla.
All right, you guys. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining in tonight. We do have a guest speaker planned for not next week, but I think the next, well, maybe it is next week. It is. Is this the 18th?
Yes.
What happened to April, you guys? Okay, this 18th. We have a guest speaker next week, and she is a $500,000 director, close to being on target for the trip, or she might be on target. I think she is on target by now. But anyway, her name is Christy Rossi, and I've seen her grow up in Mary Kay. I remember her as a red jacket. She's from Florida, and she is going to speak to us next week on the Boss Babe Call. So we're really excited about that. And so you don't want to miss it. She's great. You're going to love her. She actually was one of the ones that got in her car, her pink Cadillac, and drove all the way to Detroit, Michigan to go to Aretha Franklin's funeral.
Wow.
From Florida. And so I debated on it, and then I changed my mind. I'm like, is that really what I need to be doing? But she was not going to miss it. She just got that Cadillac, I think, at the time, and she drove all the way there. And so anyway, she's a hoot, and you will love her. You really will. And so I'm going to ask Sayla and Laree if y'all want to hang on just for a minute. I need to talk to y'all about something. But everybody else, you guys have a great, great week. And listen, I mean, we have 2 weeks left in the month. Let's make it count. Let's make it count.